Yes. Take
Love the
two.
technology stuff on this side. We were just chatting back to that, like, it doesn't, like, LinkedIn doesn't connect with things all that well, even though they have this LinkedIn Live thing. Whatever. Anyways, um,
We're here.
we're here. We're ready to chat print and packaging. I want to hear more about your summit. I want to or your workshop. I want to share a bit about the summit,
Yeah.
um, and let's just go for that.
Okay.
So, for people in the Print Design Academy audience, Erin, I'd love for you to introduce yourself.
Well, hello everyone. My name is Erin Shems. I am the founder and CEO and badass of a new company called eZippy Co. eZippy Company. It's a creative operations agency. I spent the last going on 29 years in the design, creative world, advertising, marketing, creative, graphic design, pre let's say, pre social media. I've been doing it for quite a while. So I have been there, done that, seen a lot of things, learned so much from so many talented graphic designers, creative directors, art directors in my life that have been so gracious with their time and energy to teach me all of the things I need to know about design and print along the way,
Mhm.
print vendors, things like that. So I wanted to branch out and do something on my own. I walked away from the corporate world and I wanted to help make work suck less. And so my focus is creative process, organization, relationships, as well as I'm a huge advocate for mental health in the workplace. So that's what I'm doing.
Big, and that's a huge thing. So you've been in the game a little bit. You've had a chance to, like, sit in a bunch of different seats and really get an experience of what each person who's in that kind of seat would experience and what they would come across.
Oh yeah, yeah. Everyone has a job to do, right? And the team size can vary. The number of hats you wear can vary depending upon that, depending upon the industry, the state of the industry, whether you're in-house creative or external with an agency, whether you work for vendors. It really varies. But at the heart of it, I really believe that creative teams need an operations soul to it. It really helps the agency, the creative in-house team, whomever, just function so much better. It's another person that can hold the shield up in front of the designer and really give them the space and time to do what they do and block and tackle or whatever sports analogy you want with all the other, BS, the bullshit out there. So designers need time to think, they need time to focus, but they also need reminders, time,
Yeah,
budget.
yeah.
Project management really comes down to time and money. And there's a lot of ways that they get in their own way. And I think that there's
Mhm.
more to it if you really lean into the relationship between operations and your creative team. You can really get a lot of value out of that. And it ends up saving time, money, and of course, sanity, which is the topic of my workshop. So,
And I like the way that you said, somebody to provide a shield to designers. And when you
yeah.
said that, my mind goes to, like, something as simple as emails.
Ugh,
Monitoring emails, because if a designer's
bane of
bogged
my
down in emails and
existence.
having to communicate, they're not creating, they're not designing. And I
No.
imagine that that is part of that production flow.
Yeah, yeah. If we can filter out some of that to help lessen the burden and time suck that those emails can take on the
Hmm.
design part of the team, just filter out what's necessary. What do they need to know? When's the pitch? When are we? What's the next deliverable? Where are we at? Did it go to legal? Like, you're just helping to keep all of the balls or plates in the air as we're all juggling this project.
Yeah.
But you at least have a bit of a person, leading the orchestra. You have that conductor, which can help make sure you're activating all the right people in the right places at the right time. And ultimately, project managers are responsible for the deliverable at the end of the day, or the account manager or the producer.
Hmm.
So it's really up to them to know all the ins and outs to get you from point A to point Z, or Z for all of the other Euros out there. So with that, you can help your design team by taking off some of the things from their plate and only telling them what they really need to know,
Hmm.
and then bringing them in and making sure they have a voice at the table at the right times too. So it's not meant to be a barrier, or to try and design block somebody. It's really just to help keep things flowing, keep
Yeah.
things moving in the right direction, and try and limit the hiccups along the way.
Yeah, and it's interesting timing that, you and I connected, because Print Design Academy was just in this spot of starting to serve more and more in-house design teams and
Hmm.
sort of learning what was necessary and the things that they want. Because the things that an in-house design team wants for their creative department is different than a freelance designer who's out there by themselves grinding it through. And so we were
100%.
in this kind of phase of like learning a little bit more about that to serve our in-house designer team clients better. And then you and I had connected through a mutual friend, Dan at Lincoln Design Co.
What's up, Dan?
Yeah. And we had even like been at the same events with one another before, and we just somehow like passing ships
Yeah.
and just didn't connect. But I'm glad we did because it you offer something with your expertise and where you're at right now with eZippy to teams that is a very vulnerable spot for them right now.
Yeah, yeah. Thanks for pointing that out. Yeah, thanks to Dan for hosting that conference he did a couple years back,
Yeah, into the
Into
woods.
the Woods, and it was top notch conference. It was so fun. It was a design conference, but ooh, an operations person infiltrated it. I went to it. I was there. Well, you know. I'm also a creative, and I'm also an ops person obsessed with
Yeah,
process and refining things and being as efficient as possible. But
yeah,
because of that, even though we didn't meet up, it was good timing. It's a lot of times creative in-house teams get a bad rap. They don't always get the most sexy work. A lot of times it gets, farmed out to the bigger named agencies to do those bigger branding projects. And it's
hmm,
really a shame because I know the amount of talent and the knowledge that in-house teams have, it's usually underutilized for
yeah,
various reasons,
yeah,
right? And I'm not going to get into that, but knowing how to work with external creative agencies, with print vendors, with things like that, it's a superpower. If you can unlock that, it's no longer a competition. It's like really fueling everybody, and you're firing on all cylinders to do the best work for the brand, regardless of who's doing it, because it does require both sides. You still need that knowledge that the in-house team has that's so intimate with that brand that an agency would take years to get up to speed. And when they do, then that's an even bigger unlocker. So
yeah. And the way that we've sort of put this, like you've got a really cool role in the summit this year, and you're kind of riding this. How should I describe this? As like nervous, excited wave with us because we haven't
yeah.
done the live virtual workshop portion of it. And just to sort of introduce the summit, I guess a little bit is, we at Print Design Academy, we've got our membership, we've got courses, and our whole mission is to get as many designers as possible to create print and packaging, to learn how to do it
Yes.
with more
Yes.
confidence, do it faster. And that's what our mission is all about. And we recognize that not everybody's going to be in a spot where they can purchase a course or things like that right now, but we still want them to learn about print and packaging because it's so fulfilling
Yeah.
designing for that world. And I know you've got some cool stuff that I want you to show in a sec here.
Yeah.
But we created the summit to kind of fill that need for those designers who weren't quite ready for a course or just starting to get into the print and packaging world, who weren't in a spot where they could buy a course, but wanted to learn more. Let's put on a big virtual free event where they can do that. They can learn
Amazing.
from designers who have created great print and packaging. They
Yeah.
can see case studies. They can see behind the scenes on how these RGB vector illustration files turn into printable labels. Like all of these things, they can see and taste that world completely for free.
Yeah.
And our vision was like, how do we make this as close to like a real in-person conference as possible? And our sort of venture into that, or our attempt at that right now, is when you go to an event, there's workshops before or after that you can pay extra for. So we wanted to put on live virtual workshops, make them extremely cost effective, and offers this next level of training, this way of interacting with a speaker, a educator, in that setting, versus like a pre-recorded presentation or something like that. So, yeah, you're riding that wave with us for this live virtual workshop, and I'm really excited to have you on board with that.
That was my attempt of riding a wave in my office.
I got it.
Uh,
It worked perfect.
okay, good, good. Cue the surf music. I just want to shout out to you, Dave and Gabby, for what you do. Putting on this summit for free, the access and accessibility to this kind of knowledge,
Hmm.
this number of speakers, making it virtual so people aren't having to fly or take time away from
Fly,
friends or
hotels,
family
or
or
whatever.
other, responsibilities that it
Yeah.
takes to go to a conference, which I love in-person things,
Oh,
but I think
100%.
both can exist and they both
Yes.
have needs. And just, dude, the value you're bringing to this to help support designers, really push the message of knowing how to do good print, because we are seeing it in real life out
Yeah.
there, that there are designers coming in that are more entry level that don't have the same breadth of knowledge and experience that a
Yep.
lot of companies just expect you to know and have, and you hit the ground running and you're going, and no
Yeah.
one has time to stop and teach you some of these things. And it's good to find mentors, and I see this whole summit as one big mentorship that you're bringing to people. You can go back to it, you can access it. And do you get 6 workshops for one price? Is
Yeah.
that the
So for
upgrade?
$97, you get access to the 6 live virtual workshops.
Dude,
There's like 6 courses that go along with it. There's workbooks, there's font packs, there's, all these different upgrades and things. But
that's
primarily
that's
like
freaking nuts.
the workshops. That's what people are going for. And
Yeah,
you get the recordings of previous presentations as well. So even the last 2 summits we've done, by when you upgrade for that workshop package, you get all the previous recordings. So you get something like 60 case studies and lessons and tutorials and stuff by upgrading to that, plus the live virtual workshops. So like we're just trying to give as much value as possible, and also understand that the realities of putting on an event like this, like there's costs involved on our side. So
sure.
what's the balance of recouping that cost and offering something where people are actually investing in their future, but it's approachable. It's not something, $1,200 to get into the workshops or something. So
Oh yeah. Yeah,
yeah.
100%. You guys are crazy in a good way. Like the amount of education and access you're giving away for free
Hmm.
is bonkers. Like, as the kids would say, bruh. Like,
Bruh,
come on, bruh.
that
Like,
event, all
it's.
I'm seeing is flames.
Like, it's nuts how much people are getting for free. And so $97 for 6 workshops. If
Yeah.
anybody else out there has ever attended a conference or is looking at attending them, like, come on, they're a couple $100 at least
Yeah.
for one workshop. So, and it's not to shit on their parade, like that's fine, that's what they do, but with this,
Yeah.
you're serving you're serving the design community at a different level, and it's going to make everyone's jobs better and easier by sharing this kind of knowledge out there. So kudos to you and Gabby. I'm excited to be a part of this. So thank you.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for saying all that. It's a labor of love. There's a lot of blood, sweat, and tears that goes into it behind the scenes, and there's
Seriously.
like this constant sort of second guessing and self doubt that everybody goes through and everybody has. When you're putting this on, and then you look at the community and you're like, oh, there's 2,000 people here. Oh boy. Like, it makes you second guess every email that you send. And funny story, we were putting in the live calls over the weekend in the community so
Yeah.
that people could just quickly add them to their calendar, and it was really easy to do. And we forgot to turn off notifications. So
Mm.
2,000 people got 20 emails in the span of an hour from us setting up these live calls. And
I received them. Yeah.
yeah, you're welcome. You're welcome.
I was like, what the hell is going on?
Yeah, exactly. It's one of those oops, and I'm getting like text mess. I'm at the gym and getting text messages from friends like, "Hey, what's with all the notifications?" I'm like,
Ugh.
"No."
It's bound to happen.
Yeah,
It's bound to happen.
and
Shit
it
happens.
is what it is, right? And we're real people putting on the event. We go live at the beginning of each day and wrap up with a Q&A at the end of the day. And it's literally just Gabby and I putting this event together along with all of our expert speakers and workshop people. But the management of platforms and people and emails and promotion, it's a team of two. And so
Yeah.
sometimes you leave notifications on.
Guess what? You're a human. It's gonna happen.
Yeah,
And also,
exactly.
technology always doesn't play nice. Doesn't always play nice. So there's those kinds of
Yes,
monkey wrenches that get thrown at us. As
exactly.
even with this, take
Yeah,
two. Let's try it again.
yeah, exactly. And you know what? If I'm being honest, I'm not even 100% confident this is going to LinkedIn right now.
Yeah.
But
Well.
the video will live there. The video will get
Yeah.
there.
We're doing
Um,
this live, so at one point it was live, and
it's live out there to somebody, to
cool.
people.
Yeah.
Um, so what I loved is that you emailed me beforehand and you said, "Hey, I got some cool print stuff.
Yeah.
You got a couple of like print and packaging show and tells we can dive into a little bit?"
Yeah, so I have a mix of things I've worked on and
Yeah.
things that I'm just a fan of that I've collected over the years. So,
Okay.
one big shout out, which I wanted to do, was I went to a different conference that was in person back in
Mhm.
October, and I went over to the Hatch Show Print
Love that place.
business out in Nashville, Tennessee. They're like super cool, and
Yeah.
they do old school letterpress. Like you have to
Yeah.
roll the ink over stuff. You can touch and feel, and this was done by like a human rolling out the ink over the letters and the
So
images.
awesome.
So awesome, and it gives you such an appreciation for how far we've come. Like the terminology that we see in the applications we use, like in Photoshop, and just saying uppercase and lowercase. Where do you think it came from? It came from the old school ways of doing stuff. It wasn't invented by, some giant corporation out there. So,
Yeah.
I loved just random stuff. Somebody did a promotion for Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul
Oh,
kind of thing, and this was like a box that they did with a food delivery with a chicken place, and they
yeah.
did a whole Los Pollos Hermanos, and I just loved it. I was like, this is so cool. Like
That's
someone got
so
to do
cool.
this for a job. It's simple, it's basic, but someone was asked like, hey, we need to print a box,
And
and
this
we're
is
gonna
the
put
thing
chicken
though
in it.
with print and packaging as a designer, and the way for designers I think should really think about this stuff is part of the print design podcast that we do, we ask our guests, what's your earliest memory of print and packaging?
Yeah.
And some of the things that come up are like cereal boxes when I was 5 years old, so like early mid 80s. Mad Magazine comes up a fair amount too. Some of it's like,
Yeah.
T-shirts that were screen printed for their punk band in high school, like those kind of things. And they're in their like mid to late 30s and in their 40s, and they remember that stuff like it was yesterday.
Oh
Well,
yeah.
a designer put that together. A designer created that print and went out to a print shop. The craftspeople there brought it to life on this paper. Paper manufacturers out there made that substrate that could hold that ink, that could go out there and create those nostalgic memories for people. So,
Yeah.
you're talking about this chicken box, and in terms of design, like nothing elaborate, nothing
Mm-mm.
award winning about it,
No.
but it's got messaging, it's clever, and it means something to the recipient.
Yeah.
So, somebody seeing that may think it's nothing, but it means something to you.
Yeah.
So designers have this opportunity, no matter how simple the design may be or complex the design may be, to
100%.
craft these nostalgic printed experiences for people that go and just stick with them for years and years and years.
Yeah. Like here's an example of tissue paper. Somebody had to put that on here and make sure that it printed properly and it was the right material and,
Yeah,
set up the file. Somebody had to set up a lotto ticket and
yeah,
design this and make it for print and put in like the gold sparkly foil
that's
stuff,
nice.
like woo. Somebody got to design and put together a Wonder Woman mix and match stationery set that I've had for years that I hold on to and use sparingly because I love it and I
Yeah,
love Wonder Woman, if you couldn't tell.
yeah,
People have to design manuals for oven hoods. Like that's so exciting, but somebody needs to do it and you have to print it and
yeah,
there it is and it's in lots of different languages.
yeah.
But that's print and it's also not an 8.5 by 11. It's a fancy size,
It's a fancy size.
right? A4. One of my friends was cleaning out. They both moved and both were from the design agency world, and they
Mhm.
found this random print piece. It's a giant matchbook with actual like sandpaper
Awesome.
on it, and then you open it up, and it's got actual like individual matches in here.
What?
Yeah, this is the most craziest thing. I was like, can I have that? Don't throw it away. I was just like, what is happening? And yeah, it was the Yamaha home demo program. Like, I don't even know what this is. Like, it's crazy, but I just kept it. It was for like cutting people's lawns. It's Yamaha lawnmowers. I was like, okay, I'm holding on to
I
this.
don't know what the purpose of doing something like that would be for me, but I have
Yeah,
to make one. I have to
I
find a
know.
reason and make one.
It's giant and like it's a thing. Somebody had to create this and work with a printer and set up the dies and figure out how to manufacture it and
Yeah.
put it together and I mean come on, that like
Oh
what a
my
random weird
gosh.
piece. And so it can go on and on. I mean, this is a box from a friend gave me a gift and it's gin,
Wow.
but it's beautiful and
That's
even
so pretty.
the box itself and even the flaps have art on them, and even the bottle has art that ties it all
Wow.
in together. Like, I didn't work on any of this stuff, but I can appreciate what took to do that.
And so I would say like you're in the creative space. You've been in part of in-house teams that are creating print and packaging and putting it out in
Yeah.
the world. You've been in that world. But I will tell you that even people who have not and don't understand the print world, don't understand the design world, never been in that space, have their iPhone box, have magazines or coffee table books they just can't bring themselves to get rid of. They've
Yep.
got all sort they've got like badges or lanyards they got from events that they went to that they think are really cool and they just hang on to.
Oh
All of
yeah.
that stuff created by a designer, printed by
Yep.
a print shop, and
Yep.
put out in the world, and now it means something to someone.
Yeah. Like books. You need to design them. You need to put a cover on them.
Yeah,
Sometimes there's pictures in them, but you have to set this up for print. Like,
yeah,
this is something you hold. Giveaways, swag, things like that. Doing notebooks. Like,
so cool.
you got to put that stuff out there.
One of my
Pack.
daughters is a big fan of books and hardcover books. And
Yeah.
what I've
Me
noticed
too.
recently is a lot of the books she's bringing home are even printing on like the pages, like edge. There's another term for it, like the one that comes to mind is gilding, but that's usually with foil.
Mm.
But like
Mm-hmm,
literally
mm-hmm.
putting ink around the
Yeah.
edges of the paper, like the
Yeah.
pages.
Yeah.
It looks so cool.
Yeah. I love that kind of stuff. It's those attention to details and those
Yeah,
little things that can make it so special. Like, even when I did my own business cards, like, it has a color in the middle of the card. So
yeah,
it's like three pieces, but I just wanted that little extra hint of something to make it feel special. And
I love it.
stickers you give away, how to manuals on how to give CPR. Like, somebody had to do a training, and, like, I'm keeping this because
Well,
there's really
that's
good
there for safety,
information.
Aaron. That's there just in case of emergencies. I know that.
Right, but and then there's invitations to fashion events, and like fun stuff like that you do over the years, and
Yeah,
you can get really fancy, but there's always going to be print.
yeah,
um, you bring it up all the time with just walk through a grocery store.
yep,
Like, just the food that we consume and the beverages we drink, you're going to have to put something on there. Medications we take, like,
yeah.
the print is everywhere. It may not be at your clients may not be demanding it as much. They may want more social or um, you know digital advertising. That's been huge for years, but there's still an important part of being a designer that includes knowing print. And so that's why, again,
Yep.
what you're doing is super awesome.
Thank you. And the whole print industry is this like pendulum swing, right?
Yeah.
You have the marketing world is just like swung digital. And it's like, nope, no need to do print anymore. We live in digital. And now there's even a few talks as part of the summit and a workshop actually about this sort of omni-channel approach to things where brands that are doing print in tandem with the digital promotion and creating campaigns, but using a printed component or a packaging component are seeing significantly bigger results than just digital alone. And
Yeah.
having the opportunity to create brand experiences for your clients, like you're building a relationship that's way bigger than an Instagram ad.
Yeah, yeah. Swag alone, just think about what people sell, merch,
Yeah,
consumer products, those things.
yeah,
It's a huge part of it. But there's one of the presentations I'm excited in the summit. It's, I think, I wrote it down, Gen Z craving print.
yes,
I'm curious about that
yeah.
one.
That's
I'm
from
excited.
Chloe Gordon at the Die Line.
Yeah, yeah. So I can't wait to hear what's going on there.
Yeah,
There's other ones like efficient design and flow, packaging myths busted. Let's see, who else did I write down? Deborah Korn, power people, paper and process. Like,
yes.
I'm all about those kinds of things. I just want to keep learning and absorbing as much. And Made by James is part of this, and I'm excited to hear what he always has to say. So
Yeah.
the value you're bringing is just huge. So thanks for
Thank you.
doing this.
Really appreciate that.
Yeah.
So I want to wrap this up. Be conscious of your time here. You've got a bunch of links posted on your LinkedIn profile of where people can get tickets. People can go to printdesignsummit.com is like the easy way, but go to your profile. And wherever, do you have links posted in like recent posts or promoting the summit?
I will be doing some more today and
Okay.
tomorrow, and of course, we're promoting this
Yeah.
live recording. So yeah, but check it out.
Yeah.
Feel free to come join the summit for free and pay for that upgrade. It's really worth it, and the value you're going to get for years to come out of the files and the information. Mine is the
For
Creative
sure.
Ops Playbook. You're going to save time, money, and sanity. It's March 15th 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, because I don't think we've reached daylight savings time yet. That's next weekend. Oh, so maybe afterwards, PDT instead of PS.
Right,
Okay.
that's true. Awesome. Well, Erin, thank you so much. I'm excited to have you a part of the event. And if anybody has any questions, connect with Erin, connect with me, fire away. We're happy to help.
Yeah, let's go. Woo!
Let's go.
Thanks, Dave.
Thank you.
See ya.
Okay. All right.
How was it?
Freaking fantastic.